everyone, my name is Zach REDRUP, this is the It's Not a Phase podcast, and on this episode I'm joined by Salem Vex of Crucifiction. We discuss how the band was born out of his previous project, Bloodbather, creating the album artwork himself, writing gruesome lyrics, the inspiration for its concept, MySpace era deathcore, his other band the Requiem, progress on his solo album, and loads more. But before we get into the chat, if you want to support the podcast, then there's a few ways that you can do it, and it only takes a few seconds of your time. You can hit subscribe or follow wherever you're checking this out so you don't miss out on any future episodes. You can leave a review or a comment. You can give the podcast a follow on social media, and there's also a Patreon and a web store if you did want to go the extra mile. You can find all the links to everything that I've just mentioned in the description of this episode, or you can head to itsnotaphase.co.uk. With all that out of the way, here's my chat with Salem Vex. What's up, everybody? Thank you for joining me on this episode of the It's Not a Phase podcast, where I'm joined by Salem of Crucifixion and the Requiem. How you doing, man?
I'm good. How are you?
All good, man. All good. Let's kind of dive right into it. Crucifixion, debut album Will to Power, that comes out on October 11th via Rise Records. How are you feeling about getting this album out into the world?
I'm so fucking stoked and ready. We've been like sitting on it for a while, so it finally coming out, it feels great.
Yeah, I bet. Like, if you, especially been sitting on it for a little bit, then yeah, it's just kind of playing the waiting game, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah,
I'm very excited for it to be out and everybody can hear
yeah,
what I cooked up.
yeah. Well, I mean, I guess fans listening will know that you just seem to always have like several different projects on the go. Like, you're always doing something. And I guess people will probably know about your band Bloodbather, which is kind of coming to an end. And I think I saw, it kind of started like a metalcore project, didn't it? And it kind of started leaning a bit more towards like deathcore towards the end.
Hmm.
And I think I saw somewhere that this Crucifixion album was originally kind of meant to be a Bloodbather thing, but I don't know how true that is, or like kind of where the lines crossed as, and in that kind of transition.
Yeah, so technically, yeah, the this Crucifixion record was supposed to be the last Bloodbather record. We were like kind of plotting it for it to be like that, but it just ended up feeling like I wanted to just start off new. There's so many member changes that I have with Bloodbather and sound changes as well. I've always wanted to do like a deathcore thing, and Bloodbather obviously over time just started to kind of like take that route. And I just thought it would be way cleaner to just kind of start out something new with the new sound and kind of just start where I wanted to start in general. And then yeah, me on vocals and stuff. It made sense.
Yeah, it's kind of like a reboot, isn't it? Because I guess you could have technically just done it and continued with the Bloodbather name, but I guess when you put a new name and it's kind of like a rebrand, or I don't know how you want to put it, but I guess people then attribute the name to something different. I don't know like how it kind of goes in people's minds.
Yeah, I like just consistency and I like just branding being on key, and it just felt way better to just, let's just start it out new name, new sound, and it's kind of just off rip everything that I like, and I don't have to think about, like playing old songs or doing anything like that. I could just like start here.
Yeah, it's like a fresh, clean slate, isn't it, really?
Exactly. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. So the project, it's you and is it you and Damien? Obviously, he's in the Requiem as well, isn't he? So
Yeah, yeah. So it's me and Damien is basically like all that it is right now. To be honest, it's mostly me. I put Damien in just because like I loved his like side vocals that I have him do, and he's like my best fucking friend. So I have him on bass. And yeah, that's just how it is right now. I'm not like looking exactly for like permanent members until I find people that I feel like are really in tune with like what I want to do. So I'm
yeah.
like in no rush with it.
Yeah. Well, I guess I mean you touched on it, a few moments ago, like the way that there was like a few like lineup changes in Bloodbather. I guess you're a bit apprehensive of kind of having that with this new project, right?
Yeah, no, it's like my baby. I just don't want it to be tainted by anybody that just fucking just doesn't get it, or you know, it is like not worth the time to do it. So
Yeah.
I've always felt that way too with bands and stuff. I feel like there's so many bands that like they think it's so important to have like this line up and they'll go through all these changes, and in the end, it's like the core people that really like write and make the band. So I never thought there's a point of like adding people that in the end aren't going to be writing the songs.
Yeah, I guess if you're doing like 90% plus of the work, then it's your
Yeah,
project, isn't it? Like you're doing it. So
exactly. So that's how I just kind of just went forward with it.
yeah, and it's I think the way you're kind of approaching it is it's less of like an alien thing now. Like you look at a band like Drugs, Craig Owens is the main guy, and he has like a rotating lineup for when they go live and stuff like that. So I guess it's kind of a similar thing, right?
Yeah, and I the weirdest thing is we just with the Requiem, we were just on tour with them, and Craig Owens is fucking awesome, dude.
Yeah.
He's insane, dude. He's such a good vocalist, such a nice guy. Um, but yeah, no, I feel yeah, like I would do the same thing.
Yeah. So it's you and Damien, and then I think you wrote a big chunk of the album alongside Hunter Young as well. Is that right?
Yes, that is right. Yeah.
Yeah. So what was it like working with him?
It was like a lot of just Discord sessions late night, just riffing out. And yeah, that's like really all I can remember is just being on Discord and just fucking like, all right, let's try this riff, let's try that riff, let's do that. We could do this better, blah blah blah. Just going back and forth, and
Yeah.
that's basically how the record was made. And then finishing it off, going over there, and then I did all the vocals in my house, and then just sending it to Brandon and sitting with him and mixing and such.
Right.
Yeah,
So you recorded most of it at home then? Well, at least the vocals, I guess.
yeah. It was like all the vocals were recorded at home. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
That must have been, I mean, we said it like just before the podcast started, but that's intense vocal work. So did you have to like do multiple breaks like between like songs and
Yeah, I mean that was the best part about doing it at home was like I was kind of apprehensive to just do it all in a week
yeah,
because I was also like kind of new to doing the deathcore vocal thing. Like I think the last Bloodbather song was like my first real attempt. Like I did little things here and there, but I was like really just testing my capabilities in general. And there's a lot of trial and error. Like there's some things that I was like, fuck, like I need like a couple days to like recover from like whatever I just tried there.
mm,
But at the end of the process, it became like super consistent. Like you can hear in the record like when I feel like it clicked. Like I was like, okay, I can do this. Like Amputated Satisfaction was actually one of the last songs I recorded, and I
right,
recorded that whole thing in like one day, and I was just completely okay with it.
right,
So yeah, that's when I was like, yeah, like completely locked in. I was like, okay, I got this.
right. Well, yeah, I guess you can go at your own pace then, can't you? And there's no rush. Like it's not the project wasn't announced. There wasn't really like
Yeah,
a
yeah,
deadline of sorts, and then
yeah.
you've got your home comfort as well. So if you did have like an intense session where your voice was fucked up, basically, you can just kind of rest that out. You're at home. There's nothing really stopping you from doing that.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed doing that. I feel like I would always want to do records like this personally. Like, I like the fact that I'm in my room. I'm the only one that can judge what's coming out of my mouth, and I can make it sound exactly how I want. And yeah, if I want to record at fucking, because I'm also like an insomniac. If I want to record at fucking 4 a.m., I can
Yeah,
record at 4 a.m. So that's and whenever inspiration strikes, or I feel like I maybe ticked a new technique, I could just literally go into my fucking closet and record.
yeah. You don't have to like I don't know, take a note and just hope that you remember this idea that you've got for next time you're in the
Exactly. Like
studio or something. Yeah,
there was multiple times where I was like laying in bed, like watching a movie or something. I'm like, oh man, that'd be like a cool idea if I did that. And then I just get up and just do it.
yeah. Well, yeah,
So
that's the benefit, I guess, of your own schedule and it being right in your bedroom, right? So
yeah, no, it's it's
yeah,
it's awesome. I really enjoyed doing it, honestly.
yeah, yeah. Well, I think you basically took the helm of obviously it's your project, so you took the helm of pretty much everything. And I think didn't you do the imagery of the album? Like you got all the like the surgical tools and you made like the fake blood and shot the cover, is that right?
Yep, yeah, I did everything. I did like all the single art, the album art. I also did. I got help by my friend Alex, who's like a long-term collaborator. He like did the insert with me and all that, but all the images I took in the front cover was honestly just all me. So yeah.
Right. So how did you even begin doing that? Did you like have to buy those tools on eBay or something? And then how did you make the
Yeah,
fake
that's
blood and
exactly
stuff?
what I had to go on eBay and I was buying like the most sus stuff that I could find. And a lot of it was like also like some of it was like new, but I was like there's no way this is fucking new. Like there's like so I was like wearing gloves because there's
Probably for
a
the best.
syringe in there that it was like a syringe from like 1920, like some
Wow.
Russian syringe. It took over a month to get to my house. And it was already fucking fucked looking. And I was like, okay, but I always had the idea of just using just like what is the craziest thing in my brain that I could think of for like an album like this, and it's just like a very clean but dirty look. And it was very inspired by I mean a bunch of different things, but the first thing that came to my mind was Suicide Season, how it was like very clear of this
Mhm.
image that's like disgusting, and I was like, that's fucking sick. So it took me a while to get like the tools in the order that I wanted them to be. Um, but once I did, yeah, I just shot it, and then I was super happy with it.
Yeah. And what
Yeah.
is it? Just like a fake blood capsule you used to put the blood on there as well?
So it was like three different types of blood. Like there was blood that I made, and then there was two different types of Ben Nye blood. And then there was the thick blood that I had to like kind of put things together for, like the coagulated blood for like teeth. So it looks
Mm.
like almost like guts. And then there was hair too. That was my own hair.
Wow.
Yeah, like it was very much like I was like completely involved in the process.
Committed to the cause. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No way. Yeah, it is like you say, like really clean because obviously you've got all these tools and the blood and stuff, but it's against this like stark white background. It just kind of, I don't know, like highlights just how grotesque the stuff is on the front.
Yeah, and that was exactly what because it's kind of like going from like the perspective of like the character that I wrote the album for is like
Mm.
someone that's really calculated, you know what I mean? Someone that's really like well thought. Like they're not thinking like, I guess like a normal serial killer would not care about like something being so like meticulous, but the character was, and that's why I feel like the album just makes sense when I look at it and stuff. It's like a very meticulous psychopath.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that
Yeah.
that kind of ties in with what I wanted to mention next, because obviously you've got the imagery on the album cover, and then you tie that into the imagery with the videos. You've still got all like the kind of the surgical equipment. You've got kind of like grainy videos and all that kind of stuff, and like some of it looks like it's in abandoned like theater rooms. I don't know where you shot the videos, but that's kind of what it looks like, and yeah, it just seems like there's this common thread throughout all of the imagery and the themes of the record. So like each facet of the album being, interlinked from one end to the other must have been like really incredibly important to you.
Yeah, no, like even like the lyric video for like VHS, like I filmed that when I was doing the album artwork because I knew like I needed it to make sense. It had to all be in the same world, the music videos too. Like it went all the way down to like even like the working out of like the process of like I wanted to get like ripped just for the videos,
Yeah.
just because it was like it has to make sense in my brain. I'm very into like just imagery and like I think when you put out a piece of art, which is an album, like it should just be this cohesive, like full, expansive thing. And that's what it was just like everything had to be perfect. And, you know, all these music videos, they also like there's so much like pushback. Like I'm like, oh, I can't do it this week because I have to still think about this and stuff. Like almost all the videos are like coming out so last minute because I'm just so like, fuck, I need it has to look perfect because it's gonna be here forever. And I feel
Mhm.
like people appreciate that too. Like they'll see the consistency of it and see like, damn, like this person really fucking dived into this. So that's like
Yeah.
really important to me.
Yeah. I mean, well, people say like the album is a body of work, which it is, but with an album like this, like it's not just the album itself, which is the body of work. It's like you say, the videos and all that kind
Mhm.
of stuff kind of working as one. So you can tell, like, let's say you make a second Crucifixion record, like I imagine the same kind of, attention to detail will be in that, and you'll be able to tell between the two album eras, like what fits into what, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, like I mean, I haven't even thought about like a second album right now just because
Yeah.
I'm still, in the process of this one, but I would be shocked if I did anything like completely similar imagery. Like I feel like I'm gonna do something completely different.
Yeah.
Just because yeah, I like that. I like eras of bands. I like looking back and seeing, and I feel like that's just like with my childhood and stuff, like artists I like David Bowie, Marilyn Manson, like people that like they'd put out a record and by the next record, it's a completely different look. Like from um from Bowie, like Ziggy Stardust into like the Thin White Duke character. It's like insane how different it is, but like how cohesive it is at the same time. It's just, you put out a new record and you want there to be like almost a new face to it.
Yeah. Yeah, and it kind of ties in as well to some people will say like, oh, it's image isn't important with bands and stuff. Like that couldn't be further from the truth. Like you mentioned some good examples there. You look at a band like Slipknot, you look at a band like Kiss. These are all different like bands from different parts of like the rock and metal world, but clearly image has a very significant part in their success and then kind of like being recognizable and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and some people think it's corny, I'll get the comments and stuff. I've always gotten it though, but I've always made it like a very big statement that I'm just gonna, do whatever I want, wear whatever I want. Just because like I don't give a fuck. Like I don't, I think it's cool. And there's some people, even if like fucking 5% of the people think it's cool, that's cool to me, because at the end of the day, it is like a talking point and people are definitely gonna talk about it, whether it's negative or not. It's definitely always a theme of discussion, like what I'm wearing or the makeup or whatever. So I find it entertaining.
Yeah, I mean, you want people to talk about it, right? Like the worst thing would be to make an album and no one talks about it, like it's mid,
Exactly.
like
Yeah,
that'd be like
I
the
agree.
worst. You don't want to be in the middle of the road. But yeah, you touched on something as well that I wanted to talk about, which is the fact that I guess it's kind of it's a conceptual album in a way. Like it's this, you're kind of playing this character who, well, in this point of view of a person who's kind of systematically and methodically, like you said, going through and killing people or taking revenge on people, and misinterpreting the concept of something like will to power, which is the reason for the album name.
Mhm.
Um, was there anything in particular that kind of inspired you to create that as the concept? And then I guess when did that kind of begin and you had to like storyboard in a way like this is what the album's going to be about, this is kind of what the image is going to be to tie in with that and all that kind of stuff as one big package.
Yeah, I mean, it came from like, I was just reading a lot of books and just looking through like, I guess, very dark things in history, and documentaries and stuff on like serial killers. And I just found like a common theme that a lot of people feel like right in what they're doing. Like a lot of crazy people, when it comes to just, people that kill people. It's just like they feel like this is the right thing. And I thought that was a fucking terrifying concept. And yeah, I read books all the time like that. I guess, people would say are like controversial, but I don't think they're controversial because I think you could take things from them like 48 Laws of Power, Will of Power, things like this. But if you're not in the right headspace, people could definitely misinterpret stuff like that. So that was like, and just people that I've had in my life that I feel like just completely misinterpreted things and like, were just super selfish and disgusting. So I feel like that was all just like a culmination of that. And honestly, it was just like me thinking like the worst, most disgusting person and people, and just making a record in that point of view, and also like putting in my own perspectives of like yeah, revenge and stuff. Like I was in a pretty dark place, when I was writing the record and stuff, so it like helped. And thinking just situations in which like it's just fucking insane that like someone would do something like that. And then yeah, just like kind of tying it back to the story, was like the whole idea and how it just came together. But I wasn't planning on making a concept. Like it was the first song that I made that I thought, you know, would be cool to tie it back to that. Like Will to Power was the first song I wrote lyrically, and first song I tracked anything for. And then yeah, it just ended up like, damn, like this is too cool to just stop here. Like I could keep on going with this for sure.
Mm. And when you were writing the lyrics, because some of the lyrics are pretty dark, right? Pretty
Yeah.
gruesome. Were you ever at a point where you were writing something and you were like, this isn't gruesome enough. I need to kind of push it a little bit further.
Dude, if anything, it was the other way. Like there was multiple lyrics that I was like, I can't say this. Like
Right.
I was like legitimately, they're not gonna put out the record. So um there was three times that happened where I was like, they're not gonna put out the fucking record if I say this. So like I have to like actually tone it back. So yeah, I never had the issue of like too gruesome. If anything, it was just the issue of like, yeah, like even the record as is, like it was like, oh fuck, man, you definitely said that. It's like it was worse. I promise you, I turned it back. So, but yeah, I mean, that's basically it.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned like the kind of concept of this character kind of misinterpreting something for their own agenda, right? And I guess in like today's world as well, like you kind of see the flip side of it, right? Like someone will commit a heinous act, and then
Mhm.
you'll have like news outlets or social media blaming things in pop culture for inspiring them to do it, like violent video games or violent movies created this kind of like copycat killer or whatever it is. So it's just interesting, like it's kind of on a flip side sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you can blame pop culture and stuff. I mean, if someone wants to do something disgusting, they're gonna do it. Like um it doesn't matter what, like if they see something and somehow it inspires them because they're not coming from a normal perspective. You know what I mean? They could see anything and it could inspire them to do something fucking disgusting. In history, humans like I'm super into, history when it comes to stuff like torture and stuff like that too. And it's like humans are fucking barbaric. Like 300 years ago,
Yeah,
and don't even say like thousands of, like barbaric shit that people would fucking do, like disgusting. So it's not like insane to me to think that people would do fucked up things. But I think it all comes down to just like how someone's raised. And if they just have something in them that is just like fucked up and it gets in a way nurtured by like this person not having unconditional love growing up, not having both parents, blah blah blah, all these fucking situations, being bullied, all that stuff brings out something that's fucking disgusting inside and they do terrible things. But I think blaming like, oh, like movies and stuff is so fucking stupid.
yeah,
It's ridiculous.
yeah. You mentioned as well there, like people were doing like torturous things like many, 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 many years ago. Like I went to this, I think it was in Amsterdam, this museum. It was like the Museum of Torture or
I
something.
literally went to that museum.
You did?
I literally was just in Amsterdam. I'm not even fucking kidding. That's crazy. I was
Yeah.
just in Amsterdam um in July and I was looking at museums to go to just because I had nothing to do. And I went to the Museum of Torture. I have like 50 pictures from it. I was in there for like an hour because I was like, this is fucking insane. Like this
Yeah.
is so crazy. But yeah, that's exactly like looking at stuff like that. It's like, dude, we're fucked. Like this is fucked as fuck. Like just seeing like all those things, and it was just normal. It was just like, oh yeah, yeah, we just put this fucking thing on someone's face, and it's like they can't speak, and if they talk, their fucking mouth is gonna fall off. It's like, what the fuck is this, dude?
Yeah, just like regular things like had like the Iron Maiden or I can't remember what
Yeah,
it's called, but they shoved someone you could shove someone in like this metal tank and then they heat it up or something. I can't remember what it was called, but
yeah.
just yeah.
The craziest thing was like I forgot what it was like this fork thing that like if you moved your head down
Oh
at all,
yeah.
it would fucking pierce through your fucking. It's like what the fuck? And to think that people would like cheer this on, like these people would walk in public and people would be like, yeah, fuck you, and it's like that was normal. So it's like I don't think it's surprising when people do disgusting things now, but I think like there needs to be more like social pushback, if anything, like when people do disgusting things, like it should be like a shameful thing. It shouldn't be, you know, people need to like bring back like the fuck you. Like that's fucked up that you did that.
Yeah. Yeah. Were there any kind of horror films and TV shows or books or video games that inspired like any content in this album at all?
Yeah, so like the books that I mentioned, and then movies, um Audition, this movie from 1999.
Was that
Um,
the Japanese one?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, great film.
that movie's huge inspiration. Uh, I have so many movies on my fucking wall. Uh, fucking American Psycho for
Yeah.
sure. Creep for sure. 8 millimeter, another one. Just a lot of movies. Nightcrawler. I really fucking like horror movies, and I just like movies in general. And yeah, like when I was thinking about songs, a lot of the times I would think about like imagery in a way, or if it was a movie, and then I'm writing in that perspective of like I'm watching this movie in my brain, and I'm trying to like put down the details of the movie, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, especially if you're gonna do like, the gruesome lyrics that you've done, like you kind of want to get, I guess some kind of inspiration as
Yeah.
to, put it into words, which then would make sense inside, the song, right?
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you know, while we're talking about visuals in the video for Amputated Satisfaction, I noticed you have like the animated fangs. Is that Pray for Plagues nod?
100%. I mean, I think it's super important to fucking tip your hat to the OGs. Everybody could say whatever they want about Bring Me the Horizon. Bring Me the Horizon was one of the best deathcore bands ever. Counting Your Blessings is fucking insane. Suicide Season's insane. And I thought it was fucking perfect to take the inspiration from the two bands that got like hated on the most from being like the sissy bands, which is like Suicide Silence and Bring Me the Horizon. You know, like if you grew up in MySpace, which I'm guessing you're like around my age, not a
Oh
little
yeah,
bit
yeah,
older, you know, every comment, fuck them, they're fucking gay, you know, blah blah blah. And I was like, dude, I already got that. And I was like, what bands can I like really take inspo from? And yeah, Pray for Plagues was one of the first deathcore songs I ever listened to. And I always thought that video was awesome. And yeah, no, I told the director, I was like, we got to do this. And he was down with it. And, you know, that was the last detail. That took so long. Like the video came out like, you know, a couple hours late because we were just like, I was like, it has to look perfect. Like you have to get these teeth right. So, and he got it. So it was
yeah.
good.
So would you say you're a bit of a perfectionist then?
100%.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. But
To
yeah,
my
Bring Me the Horizon
own
got like
fault.
they just get hate with like nearly everything that they put out, regardless of what it is. Like, I just don't.
It's weird because like you would think because they're a band that handles it perfectly, they don't give a fuck. But I think it's really funny when you see like a band like Falling in Reverse, like Ronnie Radke, like he just cannot believe that people hate him. I don't know how he's in that position because like I would completely be on the Bring Me the Horizon thing with like how the fuck do you care? Like I could not even give a fuck. Like, oh no, like Crucifixion has singing on their music. Fuck them. It's like, okay, I don't give a fuck. Listen to the
Yeah,
old shit. Like, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, who fucking cares?
yeah,
So, um, yeah, very weird to me.
yeah. Well, I think like the whole like deathcore scene back when it was like blowing up during the MySpace era, like pretty much every band in that genre got some level of hate. Like you look at Job for a Cowboy as well, they got like loads of hate as well.
Yeah,
I don't like, and now those albums and those bands are kind of like looked back on and revered as like classic legendary bands. I just don't get like the
I would say
retrospective flip.
Job for a Cowboy got so much hate that they changed the sound that made them popular, and now everybody looks at the Doom EP and they're like, dude, this is fucking staple, blah blah blah. And they got so shit talks. There's a million. Like I also sometimes play for I Set My Friends on Fire, and if you look up you can't spell slaughter without laughter. If you look up the reviews to that record, it is like negative. Like people were giving it like zeros and 0.5s. Like AP, I think gave it a 0.5. I'm like, this is the worst fucking music that's ever came out. And now look at it. Like fucking how many years later, almost 15 years later, he's still only playing those songs and people love it. And all those
Yeah.
songs are like fucking now, you know, you'll probably watch some fucking AP interview and like all the interviewers, oh dude, that's like, you know, this song is like the best song ever. And it's like, dude, like it's just so funny. That's why I never cared about hate because over time people look back and they change their opinions on everything. It's like time is honestly the only thing that you could trust. As in, like, if something's good, if it ages good over time, then you know they were onto something, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, they were definitely like I don't think they got their flowers. I Set My Friends on Fire because like you know there's only two of them. That wasn't really a thing that was happening in the scene
Mhm.
back then. Like doing all these like crazy sounds and vocals and stuff. And yeah, like they also I guess like one of the first bands that worked with what we would call like influencers now, right? When they did those songs with Smosh, it's like
Yep.
they kind of set the trend.
They fucking the fucking cover of the Soldier Boy because I'm friends with Matt and like that was like something that I even realized that Punk Goes Pop and all that shit came out after they did that and they
Yeah,
didn't even fucking credit them. They didn't credit them, they didn't ask them to be on it, like nothing. They were just like they took the idea and just fucking ran with it. And yeah, I take a lot of inspiration from that band. That band's like another reason why like I wouldn't mind doing two-piece stuff. The crazy vocals, super big inspiration, doing whatever you want. Um, and yeah, like Matt and Nabil being like in a scene full of like mostly white dudes and just doing what they wanted and like you know representation is super big for me too. So
yeah,
a
100%.
big hats off to fucking I Summer Friends of Fire. Fucking, I love them.
Yeah,
Regardless if I'm playing with them or not, I listen to the fucking music, you know.
yeah. Like, yeah. I mean, if you look at like MySpace bands now, like they're like one of the most prominent like MySpace bands, I reckon.
Yeah, I mean it's such a fucking weird sound, like just listening to it, it's like what the fuck is this? But it's like it's so cool because it is like, you know, I think MySpace, there's so much crazy music that came out of that time that it's so impressive because it's just like I don't even know what the fuck this is. Like who thought of doing this? You know, like Sky Eats Airplane type stuff. It's like, what the fuck is this? Like actually, like I don't know. I don't know what this is. I love it. You know,
Yeah.
Nintendo Core, whatever the fuck, like cool.
Oh yeah, like Horse the Band kind of stuff that they came
Yeah,
out
it's like
definitely. And then you had like Crunkcore, which was like Broken Side and that kind of stuff. And
all that the band The Millionaires. I don't know if you remember that, the
oh
girl
yeah,
band that's like talking about like getting fucked up and having sex. It's like what the fuck? But now it's like normal. It's like almost like that is like all pop music now. But like back then it was like what the fuck is this? You know?
yeah, yeah. Like there's just so many like different facets, wasn't there? Like, and you also had like bands like Never Shout Never and Sherwood and stuff like that as well. So yeah, it was
Yeah.
crazy time.
Never Shout Never Never's side project, Eat Me While I'm Hot, was like a really big thing that I liked, and I
Yeah,
inspired the Requiem on one song. Nobody has figured that out yet, which is funny, but now they will.
now they do. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Were there any specific like old school MySpace deathcore bands that specifically inspired the Crucifixion album?
Dire is Murder, Infinite Death was the prime inspiration for the entire record. Like that is like the key. That and obviously Bring the Rise of Suicide Silence, but the first thing I could think about is that record is the best deathcore record that ever came out.
Yeah, it's one of the classics, isn't it? So yeah,
Yeah, it's fucked. It's
yeah,
it's beyond everything else. So
yeah,
that's like my vocal inspiration, lyric inspiration, instrumental inspiration, 100% nod to
yeah,
that.
yeah. Well, speaking of like deathcore, there's this piece of merch that you've got. It's called like the Scream T-shirt that
Hmm.
just screams Chelsea Grin EP
Yep.
cover out to me. Yeah,
100%. Like I don't like nod away from it too. Like I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what I thought. Like I
yeah,
wanted that. So, you know, um, in some ways, people might think it's corny, but I think it's fucking. I'm just nodding to the OGs. Like I would never pretend like some things aren't mine. You know what I mean? Or some things are mine when they aren't mine. You know what I mean? But every great art is just your interpretation of someone else's art, and then you putting your own spin on it. So
yeah,
I don't shy away from doing that.
yeah, yeah. Well, you mentioned as well, like earlier on that Darius from Spite is on the album. He's on the song VHS. Then you've
Hmm.
got Alex Hill. He's in the band Mélancolia, and he's on the last song on the album.
Yep.
How did they get involved in the project?
Darius, I've known forever. I wanted like one or two guest vocalists on the record, and yeah, Darius, I've known forever, and I was just like, he's such a fucking crazy person, and that song is so insanely like violent, and I'm like, he's the only one that I know that's like not a bitch and like will actually say like fucking insane shit. So I was like, he had to be on it, and their band is also on Rise, so it's easy connect.
Yeah,
And he whipped it out real quick, recorded with our mutual friend Austin. It was great. And then Alex. I have always had respect for Alex for also being someone in the scene that just wears whatever the fuck he wants. And, he has crazy fucking vocals and stuff. And he's a new friend. I've probably only known him for 2 years or something,
right.
but I've known the guitarist of that band forever. So it was, and shouts out to them. So I hit up Alex and I was like, dude, I want you at the end of the record. And he fucking snapped. He did his thing. And that's it. I wanted to make sure it was friends that, were guest vocalists, not like famous people that I don't know or whatever the fuck, like people that I actually have a connection with. So
Yeah, you want that connection, don't you? And you don't want like there's so many bands out there which will get a feature for the sake of having the feature, right? It's not anything else other than that.
fuck that. That's so stupid. Like if I can't talk to you and like explain anything about the record, or it's like, why the fuck would I have you on my record? It's
Yeah,
weird.
yeah,
But I mean, I get why people do it because it's like, oh, like it's a legend, but I'd rather like befriend the legend and then ask them.
yeah. I definitely see, I guess, the reasoning, but I just don't understand why you would opt for that
Yeah,
over someone that you have a connection with or you're actually friends with.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we mentioned at the start that you've got plenty of other projects that you do. Like we mentioned the Requiem, and I had Damien on the podcast like a few months ago when the that album came out.
Hell
Uh,
yeah.
what's going on with the Requiem at the moment? Like what's in the pipeline there?
Starting to think about, the next record, and just exploring themes on that. Like that's kind of where my brain is right now, is just like thinking about like my solo stuff and that, and just kind of just keeping it pushing with music and stuff. But yeah, that's where the Requiem is at. We already have like the concept and stuff for the new stuff, and kind of figuring out dates and demos and stuff like that. But I'm excited for it, and yeah, that's where we're at.
Yeah. And you just because you mentioned solo stuff there, I mean, you put out one solo track in 2022. What's going on with the rest of it?
Fuck, dude. I fucked up, dude. I did too much stuff, dude. Like I put too much on my plate and
Yeah.
I completely fucking just forgot that I wanted to do that. And like that's like the sound that I actually love the most. But I promise there's gonna be at least one song this year. If I don't, like something terrible happened to me and it couldn't come out. But I promise there should be at least one song. Because yeah, I've been done with that record for 5 years, like literally 5 years. It's
Oh,
been
so you've got
sitting
like a
there.
record just sitting there and
Yeah,
collecting
it's just been
dust. Yeah.
sitting there. It's literally just been sitting there, and it's so fucking good. And I hate the fucking fact that I haven't put out, but this year I'll put out something. I know I will, and then eventually, um, hopefully, I'm just I'm in more a consistent grind mode, and I could just like actually tack everything at a time and like make it a process, like maybe Crucifixion, Requiem, that, and just keep on doing like the circle. But yeah, I have a lot of music that I really need to just put out already. I don't know why I haven't.
Yeah. Well, it's because you're just doing so many things. That's
I'm
what it
doing too
is.
much fucking shit, dude. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, oh, the art direction of the teeth didn't come in today, so I have to take pictures of this with that. It's like everything is every day of my life is like fucking like, oh, I have to go to the fucking gym and meal prep and fucking, yeah.
There's worse problems to have, man. Like,
Yeah, there is worse problems to have.
yeah.
But I can't complain too much. It only sucks like, yeah, there is sometimes where like mental health or like health comes into play, and it's like when you have to push things off because of that, it sucks. But everything else is like, yeah, like I'm how am I going to complain? I'm buying teeth to take pictures of them. Like that's my life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whatever.
Not many people can
Pretty
say that,
happy.
man. So,
Yeah, not many people can do that.
yeah. Well, you've also done like production work in the past with poor Stacy. Do you still do that kind of stuff? Is there anything you're working on?
I've faded away from doing that stuff just because like like when it comes to like the rap goes rock people, they're fucking suck, to work with. Like they drain the fuck out of you, and like um it's just like when you write a full song and it's referred to as a beat, it's like shooting me in the face. Like I just cannot fucking stand it. And I tapped out of that world, honestly. It was cool, and like, I got paid, decently for most of it. Some I didn't, but I wouldn't do it again. It's not worth it to me. I'd rather just do my own stuff.
Well, it sucks you've got like a experience and left a bit of taste, but yeah, like you say,
Yeah.
you're just working on your own stuff now, aren't you? So
Yeah, I mean, like I met a bunch of crazy fucking people through it. Like I fucking met Travis Barker, and like he came up to me and was like, "Oh, dude, I know you." And it's like, "You're Travis fucking Barker." Like, what the fuck? Like, yeah, I know you, man. Like, I don't know what to say to that. But it it's like not my world at the same time. I'm not really into like the stuff. Like I like
yeah,
the underground stuff more, honestly.
that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
But you also dabble in like DJing and stuff. Do you got any like gigs coming up and stuff?
Yeah, I have a goth event. I'm bringing it back. It's been like 5 years. I have that at the end of this month, and I want to DJ more. But yeah, I just like do things, and I don't even know why I do them. But it's just like fuck it. I get an idea and I have to do it, and if I don't do it, I feel like I'm giving the world a disservice. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
goth events in South Florida are like very, rare. So that's why I started doing that and DJing and stuff.
yeah. You just want to do stuff that you enjoy, and it's just there's just so many
Yeah.
things you do enjoy, and you just commit to it. That's what it is.
Exactly, yeah. But
Yeah,
yeah, the DJ stuff, fun for sure.
yeah. So I guess that kind of leads me on to like, how do you've got all these things, crucifixion, the Requiem, all that kind of stuff. How do you like compartmentalize all these different projects and like focus on them without kind of being distracted by something else you've been working on, or like how do you even mentally do that?
I have no fucking idea. I don't know. Like some weeks I'm just completely tapped out from something. Um, and I just can't even fucking think about it. Like sometimes like after the Requiem album, I was like, I don't even want to think about writing a song in standard tuning ever again. Now I'm back where I can. And then yeah, like when I'm writing the crucifixion stuff or the solo stuff, it's like I'm writing it because like I need to write something. And I can't even think about writing uh, you know, one of the projects. Like it's just gone, you know? So I feel like it's just my brain just like, you have to do something. And then I'm like, fuck, what am I gonna do? And
Yeah,
that's what I do. So that's like even like some of the production stuff, like the poor Stacy stuff that I've done and stuff. Like some of that is like I just like wanted to write something and I just like threw it to him, like fuck it here. Um and you know, when I sell songs to people, that's usually like I have like a and people don't even know, like I had a whole death metal project that I didn't do. I had a whole punk EP that I didn't do. And it's like I just can't do it because I can't do any more fucking bands. Like I don't know any more band names to make. And I just like I cannot keep confusing people with like what the fuck I'm doing. So I promise you there would be like 7 projects, but I know my limit now and I know it's just not smart. So it's like I'm good with the 3 and I'm gonna stick to 3. I'm not doing any more than 3 anymore.
yeah. Well, it's just like
But
time management, isn't it? Like you've got to put
I
a
can't. I
schedule in there,
can't
like
fucking
months in advance, I imagine, like just to get some stuff done.
if I could fucking copy myself and like have different alter egos for everybody, then I yeah, 100%. But it's not even possible. Like right now, I'm already like towing a line of just like insanity where I'm doing too much already.
Yeah, yeah. I
So
mean, you need time to just chill out, otherwise you burn out as well, don't you? So
yeah, I learned that this year. This year was really, really hard for me mentally and stuff. Like I burnt out as far as I fucking could. And I started realizing like, okay, let's chill out a bit. Like let's take a week and just not do anything, you know?
yeah, yeah. Well, at least
So
obviously it sucks that you kind of got into that dark spot, but at least you've learned something from it. Like you know how to kind of
yeah.
manage a bit better, I suppose.
All those things, you know, I guess they happen for a reason. Like you can't appreciate the good things in life without terrible things. You know what I mean? Like, eh, yeah, so many. I don't even want to get into it. Like, so many fucking things that I just never thought would happen this year, and I was just like, man, like, what the fuck? But I feel like all those things have to happen for you to like when you get the good side of whatever it is, like, you know, if this is the worst thing that could happen in a relationship, you get cheated on. It's going to make you appreciate when you're not getting cheated on, when you're with someone that, you know, is really good for you and stuff. And, you know, going through stuff like that is like fucked, man. It's really fucked. But I do feel like it is necessary and it, you know, builds you up to be a better person.
Yeah, you
So,
get that kind of perspective, don't you, of what, the dark and the light, I guess.
yeah, you definitely get some good lyrics. I could say that.
Yeah, yeah, that's it. Yeah, channel it into something good. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. Well, I think we've covered pretty much everything. But is there anything else that you've got planned for 2024, 2025 we've not like touched on yet?
Uh, just figuring out shows and stuff. There's going to be some crucifixion shows, some tours hopefully coming in, and some more music videos, more content. But yeah, I mean that's about it. I'm just like just keeping it rolling.
Yeah, keep grinding, man.
Yeah, that's all you
Yeah.
can fucking do, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, Salem, thanks very much for taking the time to speak to me. Really appreciate it. Um, any final words before I let you go and enjoy the rest of your day?
Yeah, well, first thing, thanks for letting me on, having me. I appreciate the knowledge of, you know, my past things. I really do appreciate that because it sucks when you do a podcast and someone's just like asking you like the Googleable things.
Yeah.
So yeah, just like yeah, Crucifixion Cult or Crucifixion 666 on X or Twitter. My personals are Salem Vex. Yeah, the Requiem band for the Requiem stuff. And if you're young and you have ideas and you want to do creative things, fucking do it. Don't listen to anybody. Because yeah, the youth is really what's pushing everything. And you know, I'm getting older every day, so it's imperative for people to keep on doing stuff like that and like keep the art and music going. So that's the most important thing.
Awesome. Yeah, very inspirational. Thanks, Salem. Yeah, I'll let you go. Really appreciate it. And yeah, hopefully when the Requiem or Crucifixion come over to the UK, I'll be at the show, man. So
Hey man, fucking I love the UK. I really want to go back, so hopefully.
where did you go when you came here?
I played the Underworld.
Oh, in London. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So
I've never even
hopefully I
been
get
there,
to go.
so
Yeah, hopefully I get to go like other places in the UK. But that was great. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. Well, we'll keep in touch, dude. And next time you're over here, I'll if you're in the north of England, like that's where I am, so I'll show you around and stuff. So
Fuck yeah, dude. Sounds like a plan.
awesome. Yeah. Take care of yourself. See you in a
All
bit.
right, peace.
And that's it. Thanks so much for tuning in to It's Not a Phase. If you enjoyed this episode, then don't forget to hit subscribe so you don't miss out on any future episodes. Leave a thumbs up if you're watching on YouTube. Follow the podcast on social media, and maybe even join the Patreon or grab some merch from the store. You can find everything that you need at itsnotaphase.co.uk. That's itsnotaphase.co.uk. Thanks again. Hopefully catch you on the next one. And remember, it's not a phase, it's a lifestyle.